Hey everyone, welcome to Reverse Homesteading. It's a sunny morning. It's getting to that time of the year where the middle of the day matters. I've been complaining about grey old days, but now it's midday. I'm going to have to watch my skin a little bit and to not get too tired. There are quite a few things to do to reorganise here, and I'll show you some of the practical things I'll be doing so that I know where my spring seedlings will be going. So excited to have my 4 heat pads back. That will be the backbone of starting my tomatoes and eggplants and things that take a bit longer to extend the season. And I found this little cheapie, well, kind of cheap, a $10 rhubarb, like my other one. It's a Wandon Red, which is in the Yarra Valley. Love the Yarra Valley, but it's not so happy. It's just started to die, the only leaf that it had, so I had it soaking in some water. The surrounding mixture was quite hydrophobic, so water ran off it, and that's really bad. I'm guessing it's some sort of peat or sawdust mix. So this is what I'll hopefully get from it eventually. So I'll let that drain for a little bit. I've had it soaking for about an hour, and we shall see if it comes good and then I can plant it. Just had to rehydrate it first. So now I have my heat mats back. I've slowly been purchasing more, so I've usually only had 1. Now I have 4, and I do have things that need to go out of that mini greenhouse because it's getting too hot in there and they're getting too big. So once I move my things out of there, I'll move the greenhouse yet again to over here, which is where we have electricity in the garage. I can run a cord underneath the door and just put the greenhouse here, which will be a great spot for it because now it has so much more sun now that we don't have most of that big tree, which originally shaded the DIY greenhouse when it was up against the wall near the window. So we've sort of come full circle. The other reason I'm organising things in this area is these. I don't know what they are. The ones on the left could be a hyacinth or a really big crocus. These could be hyacinths. I'm not sure what they are. Some kind of lily, I would say. They're not the same kind of lily that's along the fence, thankfully. Don't like those very much. But these look like crocus. So I think there was a garden bed here. This is the thing, hubby's so sensible, he said. Very early on when we first came here, he said, oh, maybe you should see what's in the garden before you, and have a really good think about things before you start building a garden, but as you know, I didn't. So I am really curious about what those bulbs are. They could even be spider lilies, these ones, those ones. Yes, so I will move these shelves, my strawberries. I may move them back to the balcony. They were on the balcony before. Our balcony is quite exposed to our neighbours, so it's kind of odd, but not sure where else they can go where they'll get enough sunlight, but we shall see. Our friend is going to help us with that tree soon, and it's actually 4 or 5 trees. I was thinking it just had multiple trunks, but it's quite a stand of little trees there that have just been allowed to grow where they shouldn't. Wanted to show you this little violet, little purple flowered violet. There were a couple. I'm not sure where the other one's gone. Perhaps it'll pop up again. Might have got dug out in all of the digging. Also, these lilies are still coming up. According to the old real estate pictures, they're just white arum lilies or calla lilies. I thought I got a lot of them out, but I'll dig those out as well. There are more in a couple of different spots. So we'll only keep what we want and just keep digging everything else out. But these might look really good if I can let them trail up here. Eventually, hopefully I'll be able to propagate them. Maybe I'll get some seed. But that might fill that gap there, and I can put mulch around them. I can put poppies or other flowers that I've got already. Another funny thing I found near my back fence, near my fruit trees, here's my Granny Smith, is this little one. That is not a weed. I was weeding here earlier and I thought, oh, that's a hyacinth. So I'll get a trowel and dig that out properly and relocate the poor little thing. I'm guessing because we had a lot of rain after I planted my bulbs here, it just slid down the hill. So I'll replant that back up here where it's supposed to be and water it in really well, and I think it'll be okay. Another thing I noticed on my wanderings this morning was this little one. It's a yellow hyacinth, and unfortunately something's nibbled it off. I wouldn't recommend that. Bulbs can be toxic, but I guess the creature didn't know that. The other yellow hyacinth seems to have escaped so far. So I will be protecting those today with a little fence and some bamboo posts. Hopefully that will be enough to ward off a possum, maybe not a rat, so we shall see. So it's always good to consult with anyone else in your house who cares about what's happening with the garden, because I found out in chatting this morning that I should not have planted these. Oops. We were going to take the camellia out, but another reason is that we were going to put a shed for our bikes across here, and we can have more depth this way if we put it here rather than against the fence. I thought we were going to put it against the fence where this is. That's why we're going to take that out. So obviously my brain imprinted the wrong plant. They'll all come out eventually, but it makes more sense to put it here because there's actually more shade here. So I will have a think about where those plants can go. They're not too established, so they'll probably forgive me within the same season if I move them soon. And I'll have to move my rhubarb and my celery, and today I bought another rhubarb, so at least that one should be planted in its forever home soon. Another good thing about putting the shed across that wall at that end is that this is where the sun is, so a lot more space for my Panama passion fruit, for my native currant and the citrus up the end, and that'll also give us a lot more space for getting things in and out of the shed. I was looking at this earlier. That's my golden stuffer stuffing capsicum or stuffing pepper, just little wee ones. So this will be my pepper bed. I'm going to add a bed here, which is my current potato bed, around there, and that needs to move because hubby's going to have an office in the backyard hopefully, and that'll give him a bit more space to build that and do those things. Of course these citrus will go out in the ground soon once the danger of frost is past. Oh, and this time of the year, make sure you start spraying your worm farm if you have one. If you have a towel on the top, it's good for them to be a bit cooler, especially in the warmer weather. This doesn't get sunlight, but I still do that when it's particularly dry in the winter or in summer. So that's all my thinking of organising for today, and I'll get around to planting seeds and I'll let you in on that video once I get that done. So I hope you're having fun in your garden. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.